Okay, game 2. What do you want to see? Do you want to see anything different out of Hungry for More here?
They need to not allow Fafnir and Freya on the same team.
That
was the one issue, I would say.
I mean, we saw it pick some bans because when we saw Freya go through, we're like, they banned Raven. I personally would have probably banned the Freya there, just in case.
If they did let Freya go through, at least camp her, right? Just to shut her down in the early game. Don't let her get to mid to late game form. And but we saw so much solo lane pressure from both of these junglers wanting to look for Dimi, wanting to look for variety. At the end of the day, both hunters got into the late game uncontested.
Well, no change from NRG here. Susano, Al Kwong are the first 2 bans here between the 2. I expect a Nemesis ban coming out from Hungry for More or NRG here. It's going to be Fafnir this time. And clearly, iRaffer does not want to play it.
He's probably going to pick up Terra if it's available, or maybe go for a Bacchus of his own. If Fafnir and Terra is going to be not available, he'll go for the Bacchus. But Terra is available. More than likely, it's going to be first pick.
And it will be the first pick and go over to iRaffer as well. It is one of those annoying gods, a nuisance god more than anything else. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It doesn't do a monstrous amount of healing. It does some good healing overall. But the most part of this is it's an annoyance. It disrupts so much.
It's all about the setup that you have for your team. The root into the stun. You control a lot of space. You could deny the pathing that an enemy wants to take. So you don't even have to crush the wall when you put it there. It's just the threat of it alone is good enough to allow you the control that you need.
Well, the old Titan boys are going to go straight back to Jing and Vulcan this time round, and they're basically just giving the game away of like, we love Jing, we love Vulcan. There's nothing really wrong with those gods overall, so just keep picking them.
They're playing their own game right now. That's just what Hungry for More is doing. They're not really worried about what NRG are doing quite yet up until this Fenrir Raijin pick. So yet again, going from Fenrir to Isis to Fenrir to Raijin, still probably going to be looking for some really aggro plays, is adapting.
I actually think the reason we see the Raijin this time is because there's no there's no Fafnir with them. If we would have seen the Fafnir for the hammer into a Spirit Ball into the combo, well, this time round, Raijin, he's got a bit more self-setup here and can do something from a bit longer range, which is what Terra allows you to do as well with those crushing walls.
Pretty good setup, I would say, for the Raijin. You're trying to get the late game damage, especially with the ultimate. You have the poke with just your drums in general, or you can have the ultimate drums, but now just another knock-up composition coming out of Hungry for More.
Well, Bacchus stocks in one more time for PANDALIKE, as you said. More knock-ups, and this time around, and you go, well, we've had enough of full knock-up team, so we will take away Tyr.
And Freya and Kronos off the table immediately from Hungry for More. They do not want emilitoo with those 2 gods. Sol's still available, though.
Sol is available, and with Terra in lane, the dot damage is through the roof, I want to say, between the 2 of them there. And honestly, with Terra, you can kind of put any hunter with her, and it'll still work out well. Ul is a good option as well.
Yeah, you have so much flexibility, I would say, with Terra as your support in terms of kill potential. We haven't seen too much Uller in this split. We've seen a lot of Sols, so we'll see what emilitoo decides to pick.
Yeah, I have a long hard figure out. I don't know why Ul came to my mind there, but I just feel it will combine nicely with the Terra overall in terms of walls into axe, into burst damage, into leap ability, into crushing storm, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be Anhur, though, which is also a very good one because you actually trap him in walls and a pillar in between, and you just sat there.
There's just going to be so much space control between the Terra obelisks and between the Anhur obelisks. So I like this play. This also means that I would expect a lot of aggression from NRG's duo lane. Having Anhur on emilitoo, we've seen him before in Season 2, the way he's played Anhur. He goes ham.
No, he does, and he's more than happy to do it over and over again. iRaffer being able to be aggressive on a god is his perfect situation to be in. Ymir is the final pick for Hungry for More, which tells me that we'll be in the solo lane going up against the Sun Wukong monkey from Dimi this game round. So a bit of an interesting strategy between the 2 here.
A pretty good setup, I would say. You have the wall, right? So you're trying to shut down this. If Fenrir ever jumps in, then he's not going to be able to really get out if his brutalizes down as well, right? So you're trying to shut down the aggression from NRG or make them second-guess themselves before they really commit against the wall, which could potentially look for some easy plays. Like iRaffer wouldn't be able to really get out. Now, during Terra release, I was really surprised that like she could break through her own walls, and I would have thought like, man, how cool would it be if Terra could break through enemy walls?
I agree. Like Ymir walls and just smash through a Ymir wall. Like, no, it's fine. And she can double dash as well. That would have been great.
That would have been
But maybe a bit too OP.
So?
You okay with OP? Of course you are.
That's cool, though.
You're a solo lane. Of course you're okay with OP.
That would be cool, man. That would be the greatest interaction in Smite, probably.
I'd say Giannis portals are probably the greatest interaction.
I mean, that's like just a singular interaction. If abilities could go through Giannis portals, that's imagine that.
You see, when Giannis first came out, I was hoping no escape from Ares could pull people through it.
Imagine a spirit ball going through a Giannis portal
across the map.
Across the map, so you get like 3,000 plus damage, and like the distance still counts. So
that's kind of high to actually happen. Start of the game though, no invades coming out from either team early on. Build-wise, very even between the two. Nothing too surprising, although emilitoo going for a faster Iqval here up against Ataraxia, looking for the lane pressure early, and that's why they've also got Meditate on iRaffer here.
I love the builds already out of NRG. They've dictated with their composition, and now they're dictating with their builds on top of this, so going to be looking for early pressure, and early pressure mid.
And Prime going to take a lot of free poke there from Yammyn early on, and obviously Raijin coming out going to help to take out that turret. And that's the one thing about Vulcan mid. You've mentioned this before to me as well. You generally don't want to go against gods as a Vulcan that can clear your turret with like ring toss for Naja, for example, is one example, but so is Raijin on the Raijin.
Yeah, you can find the combination with your throwing out the Raijin, finding the drums on top of this, especially if you have a passive up, you're going to be taking a lot of poke, and you definitely don't want to be taking free poke, but nice little rotation yet again from Hungry for More, but this time there's a counter rotation.
Indeed, but the turret will come into play here a little bit, and it will go the way, I think, of an even trade. I want to say Yammyn got one, and Hungry for More got one.
I'm surprised NRG rotated underneath from their dual lane instead of going through the gold furry, looking for the flank invade. Dimi taking a lot of poke, and this is something that Ymir succeeds at level 3.
And is he good against some Wukong overall? Would you say is it an even matchup?
I would say that as the lane progresses, it would favor Dimi. After level 12 and on, that's where the Sun Wukong really starts to shine. But early on, Variety, if he's left alone, uncontested, then he really shines. But I don't expect Adapting to leave that lane alone.
Oh, look at the poke coming out. emilitoo, they're actually jumping inside that for some reason. I'm not sure why NRG were doing that. There were still minions left, maybe looking for a little bit of aggro from the minions onto him, or just showing that the disrespecties.
They're just going for a little ride, sometimes. Nice little stun onto PANDALIKE. You can never get the confirmed Bacchus burp stun if that is available for iRaffer.
Not once. And if you actually saw emilitoo had Pillar available now, which he doesn't because he's only level 3 and took 2 points in Impale, they could have actually put him into the Pillar straight after that as well. So double confirm. And there's a root coming out. Going to put some pressure on Jing and onto PANDALIKE.
So much damage onto the side of Hungry for More. They don't really want to commit with that Bacchus belly flop because that would spell their doom. Still doing a lot of poke. emilitoo finding the stun onto PANDALIKE, now switching his target to Ataraxia.
This is good pressure from Hungry for More, though, in response to what we saw emilitoo try and do there overall. The biggest issue they've got in this lane is the fact that NRG can poke and clear at the same time because the dot damage from the monolith, when it gets broken, it's actually clearing the wave too.
But before it gets broken, emilitoo getting the HP 5 from the regen of that obelisk, so doing a great job utilizing the mechanics out of Terra.
We expected this lane to go this way anyway. Anhur and Terra definitely going to be dominant here over on this left-hand side, especially against a Bacchus and the Jing early on, but Jing can head to base a little bit quicker. The fire elementals did just go to NRG on the right-hand side of the map, if you didn't see it on your screen there, but now they're back to mid lane and following up once more.
Buffs are about to respawn in about 10 to 15 seconds, finding a nice little route onto PANDALIKE with some dot damage, clearing the wave. This could give NRG enough time to find the red buff invade, but Yammyn and Adapting aren't there, so you cannot really go for that risky play.
And you saw exactly what they did, though. They were going to go for the red, then saw the minimap and went, no, we don't have teammates here.
So the mind games of this is they're hiding in the jungle, making Hungry for More think that they're going to invade the red, right? So if they overcommit to defending the red, speed buff would be available for Adapting to steal potentially. But he backed to try to finish off the warrior tabby, so not going to find that opportunity.
And iRaffer's actually staying hidden still on this right-hand side of the map. Ataraxia just returned from base, but coming in, Ataraxia doesn't see him.
Just using the clear, what he wants to do. The red buff of their own, like you don't want to have your own red buff and boars not being taken quite yet. You could look for more poke onto PANDALIKE, setting up a nice and easy stun, making it very difficult to find a return poke.
But notice that time around, PANDALIKE actually used the shell, knowing that was going to happen to him. So shell was consumed there by Hungry for More. So small power play one more time for NRG, especially because Meditate is back up.
And especially with the ultimate from Terra, it's going to be very hard to survive in these team fights with the sustain coming out of NRG between the meditation and the Terra ultimate, forcing the boards to reset on the left-hand side. I would expect Adapting and Yammyn to start putting some pressure because of how much pressure iRaffer and emilitoo have.
That's true. They're going to be a little bit careful on this left-hand side, though, NRG, because still emilitoo and iRaffer haven't gone back to base just yet. Yeah, they're in a decent position in terms of health and mana, but don't put that gold to use, and your enemy will start to abuse you a little bit more.
Well, as long as they're keeping PANDALIKE and Ataraxia in the lane, then they have nothing realistically to worry about. Off of the boars invade, they could look for their own boars and the red buff that's available. Adapting's rotating for these fire giant elementals with Dimi.
Yeah, one more time they will pick up NRG. So they continue to extend their golden experience lead here overall. Obviously, the lane matchups are in their favor overall as time goes on. At the moment, though, it's not a big big lead.
Not at all. They're not looking for too much at the moment. They didn't really go for the red buff invade. Instead, waiting for the perfect timing to get a clean boar invade. Small, calculated steps coming out of NRG. They're going to be probably waiting for some power spike items. Ikaval being finished on the side of emilitoo. He doesn't have much mobility, though, only with tier 1 boots.
Yeah, only tier 1 boots, but with Terra with him as well on that ultimate. I mean, that can really help out. The Terra's blessing will give him the extra mobility he may need if he's going to get in trouble.
Especially if PandaLike, though, he has to be worried about the rotation coming out of the Bacchus. If he finds the belly flop, that's going to allow emilitoo to find the return kill, but without the mobility, you can't really chase down the boots 3 completed for PandaLike and Ataraxia.
Wall control is definitely energies around this Gulf Fury pit. However, you can see that one right there that they don't recognize now on the side of NRG and Hungry for More. Know it's going on, so they do reset eventually.
Look at those obelisks just hugging each other out, man.
And they will both body block as well. That's the funny thing. The monolith, you can't walk through the monolith, so if you have the pillar and the monolith together, you could potentially cut off the entire jungle if you're lucky enough.
That's their own little Ymir wall that NRG have immediately. CaptainTwig finding the invade, running into Yammyn, though, but PandaLike and PrettyPriMe are right behind him.
That was the funniest.
Variety even making the rotation just in case something were to happen on the left-hand side.
That's very true, but that was the funniest interaction I've ever seen of Yammyn, like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing here? And they both run away from each other, and then Yammyn's a little bit too late on landing abilities. It's not often I get to say that about Yammyn either.
Not at all. Left-hand side adapting, sharing some experience with emilitoo, now hitting level 8. Mid lane, iRaffer just left alone. Yammyn making the rotation on the left. This could be a Gold Fury. We did see Ataraxia back, but with his passive, he'll be back momentarily.
Yeah, there's a Sentry Ward down from the Gold Fury anyway, which makes it very, very difficult. And obviously, with the teammates being back in base, Yammyn there on the left-hand side and adapting, going back to base, it's just back to farm.
And now Dimi feeling very confident in looking for these poke exchanges in between the waves. Now using his cudgel, just going for the Tiger Stone and the slow. And now adapting, though, trying to defend his own speed.
And he's under a lot of pressure there as well, but iRaffer is here, as is Dimi. The ultimate has been consumed as well. The Vulcan ultimate will go off and connect onto 2. 3 members of NRG disengaged, but round the corner comes Yammyn, looking for the first blood of the game, and he will get it onto PrettyPriMe.
Great play from Yammyn, finding the Thunder Crash for the last hit. Still continuing on. A nice little Ymir wall preventing it, but the Wukong can jump over. Going to get knocked up into the Ymir ultimate. Adapting, taking so much damage, but still clean disengage. Left-hand side, though, Ataraxia got poked out by emilitoo.
He did, but that was a great play from NRG there. The fact that they all collapsed into the Ymir ultimate, because the sooner you can kill him, the less damage that ult's going to do, potentially saved all their lives because of it.
And still, yet again, another clean disengage from NRG. They found 2 kills at the beginning of the last game. They're finding 2 kills yet again this game, and they're still going to be very patient. They don't want to force the Gold Fury quite yet.
That's the one thing about NRG you've only got to pay attention to, Tolly, is that every single one of these players are a threat. You ignore one of them, and that'll be the one that ends up killing you all. The rest of the team will still survive, and then you've got Yammyn running through the back line. There was 4 members there, just chasing Prime all the way through. But before the team even realized it, Prime was dead.
Yeah, Prime, unfortunately, he couldn't connect his ultimate to synergize with the Fear No Evil out of CaptainTwig. Wanted to use it just to secure the speed buff invade to get that away from adapting. A little bit off the mark. It was a nice little jump just to confirm the hit.
Well, now the World Championship MVP, Yammyn, picks up 2 kills for himself, heads straight back to base, and he's working towards a Warlock Sash already at 8 minutes in. He's a long way along with that.
With a 2-level advantage over PrettyPriMe, this is a nice opportunity for him to find these stacks. We saw in the last game where he was the Isis and he built the Warlock Sash, and that allowed him to position himself a little bit more aggressively, and that's something you really want to do as Raijin.
Actually giving the red buff over to emilitoo there by the looks of it as well. Actually, no, nobody picking up the red buff, I want to say, as it looks like Yammyn going to head back to mid to make sure he gets the first wave of farm first. We'll see where that red buff ends up going, because it actually got reset, I believe, between the team.
I think it could be an issue where maybe they want to share with adapting at this point in time. They don't want to take any sort of farm away from him. Now Yammyn going into the red buff as adapting's waiting to gank Ataraxia on the left-hand side, but on the right, Dimi and Variety trading out poke.
Doesn't have his ultimate either, but there's the ultimate coming out from Terra's Blessing, which will relieve the pressure on him on his left-hand side. Pressure going on from emilitoo here as well.
Nice obelisk coming out of iRaffer just to sustain Dimi up without even have to worry about using his own ultimate. So that's going to keep him in the lane a little bit longer. iRaffer still sticking around, and maybe might find a pick on Variety.
Well, I mean, he's very easy to pin down, is a Ymir, but the wall will slow him for a second. Monolith is not going to detonate there. He missed the Monolith, which means he's not got the double dash, but the slows will make an impact. And now with the rotation out from the jungler adapting as well, iRaffer will not look at the explosion, because cool guys don't.
Cool guys don't look at explosions, but hungry for more. They're looking at the Gold Fury, and emilitoo's been looking at them for quite a while. He's going to try to reset the Gold Fury. Desert Fury coming out, and it gets stolen!
He got the Gold Fury. emilitoo coming up big, and now he can look towards Twig as well. Twig running for his life. No cooldowns available for Emil right now, but round the corner is coming Yammyn too. Pillar comes up, Impale off the mark, but the slow is still making an impact. Meanwhile, in the jungle, they do pick up a counter prime, and emilitoo, well, he's going to back away, realizing his boys chase a different kill.
This time it's NRG with the Gold Fury steal. What a turn of events. They find the first 2 kills. They find another kill onto Variety. Overextending. There were 3 people on the solo lane side, right? That should have given Hungry for More enough ample opportunity to get the Gold Fury. But unfortunately, because Vulcan was so close to the Gold Fury, his ultimate does less damage. Had he been a little bit further away with that ultimate, that should have been able to confirm it.
Well, if any can take anything out of these games by watching EU, is that our Gold Fury control is very weak at the moment over in Europe, at least today. For now, anyway. It's about a 3,000 gold lead in favor of NRG because of that, and now they can just continue this march onwards.
I mean, what we've seen, who was it out of, we saw a Ram being able to in-hand steal the Gold Fury.
Yeah, Jermaine stole
Fire Giant with a Ram
and Gold Furies
with an in-hand.
I mean, the old days, Renz was doing it as well at the Gold Fury pit over and over again with his Anhur plays there, and now we saw Vulcan steal one today. We've seen Variety steal one on a Terra of all things.
And then one little Impale out of a Desert Fury was able to steal it this time around away from Hungry for More. And now they're going to be really struggling now because they're already behind enough as it is. Level department, 3 levels on the advantage for Yammyn.
And that's the thing about last game versus this game is the fact NRG were leading last game at the Gold Fury attempt and they had it stolen away, so it evened things up. This time he just escalates the lead and pushes this game a little bit quicker into NRG's favor.
And adapting's probably not going to be done. He always wants to force the issue. He'll go left. Even though he wasn't able to go on to Ataraxia, he was still looking for the plays, but then quickly switching his mind because of how low we saw Dimi instantly taking advantage of Variety's mindset. It's sometimes the mindset is like, okay, he's low, I'm going to keep on pressuring him, but then thinking like, okay, I'll force the rotations, we should be able to get gold here, right?
Ooh, emilitoo really looking for a kill on this left-hand side, trying to find the back of Ataraxia, if anything else, but not good for the time. He's actually proxy farming emilitoo here. Yammyn, meanwhile, has completed a Warlock Slash in under 12 minutes to go along with the boots. That's very quick.
Yeah, especially with his build going for the Lost Artifact at Tier 1. So this is a great, efficient start coming out of Yammyn with a nice level lead, a nice survivability build on top of this. emilitoo, nice little attempt of a rotation.
Emil just wants to fight.
He does. That's why he has the Ymir.
I think he's feeling... Emil kind of feels himself after a while. And that goal for you, I think, just boosted him enough to go like, all right, let's fight, boys. I'm in that zone. I'm in the zone once more. I'm going to look to proxy farm or even pick Ataraxia. I'm going to rotate mid lane and look for a cheeky Impale. Let's just fight. Force
the team fights, and that's exactly what Adapting is thinking as well, as he's ping-ponging between mid and right-hand side. Variety is quite an easy target as long as Adapting can land the stun. If Variety sees it, though, he could counter with his own ultimate.
Yeah, that's the one thing Variety has to his dispose here is that ultimate. Do you reckon we'll see Purification out of him this game?
No, I don't really expect to see Purification. You kind of want to go for either Teamfight Relic or the Blink just to be able to find the perfect engage, because looking at the composition from Hungry for More, PANDALIKE is a little struggling right now at level 10. He doesn't have that much defenses after Mad Guy's boots.
Well, Twig under a bit of pressure on the right is on the left-hand side. emilitoo continues to try and proxy farm, and Ataraxia is like, will you stop? Will you stop this? Because he's actually pinning Ataraxia in lane as well. He can't recall to base in case he can't go back to the wave again because Anhur's going to be there.
And if he's going to force out rotations, it's all of energy already forcing the issue. If you rotate left, you're going to lose mid. If you rotate mid, you're going to lose right.
This isn't going to be easy for them to bring down Variety because Dimi is out of mana. However, Adapting joining the fray. Maybe a different story all of a sudden. A wall will slow them down for a minute. Variety just walks all the way back. Dimi has a bit of mana online now because the blue buff was picked up. The rest of his team, however, weren't really doing anything on the other side of the map.
The patience from Adapting just to hold on to his ultimate. He recognized that, okay, I didn't land my stun. I'm not going to commit with the ultimate. And that's going to allow, finding a free wave on the right-hand side because the teleport is still down on Variety.
It's actually a bit of a mind game there as well because Variety's ultimate, he can channel that for as long as Ragnarok lasts, I believe. So that's the mind game that happens because if Adapting pops his ultimate and Variety does it afterwards, Variety will outlast a Ragnarok.
CaptainTwig getting marked. He's going to be able to get spotted out on the mini-map, pinging him out more than likely. Adapting, not going to connect onto the stun. A nice Blink preventing the Ragnarok, but the Blink is a longer cooldown than Ragnarok.
Dimi's still committed there, and now he gets pressured instead. Fenrir Weaver connects as well. The ultimate will hit from Variety, the wall, the wrong side, but Ataraxia is here and he can't confirm the kill in time. time.
Dimi barely able to squeeze through the wall regardless. He still finds the ultimate for the sustain variety. Barely able to juke out Yammyn. Look at where emilitoo is. He finding the stun, setting up, adapting for the kill.
And immediately airstrikes, so out goes Ataraxia, but back to the fray, and Raff is in there too. Meanwhile, Variety really wants to pick on emilitoo and maybe able to find a hit. One more hit is all he needs, but the Sanctuary and the sustain from the Monolith is good. emilitoo stands tall, and now Dimi's back in the fight.
He's teleporting back in, going to go to the right-hand side. Once he get the tower, this is the one advantage that NRG have with 2 players dead. They're going to go for mid and right-hand side.
Now, I will say PANDALIKE was on a merry adventure while all that was going on. I looked at the mini-map, and he was over by where the red buff spawned of energy, down on that bottom left-hand side. I don't know what he was doing over there, as everybody else in the whole game was on that right-hand side of the map. And that 4v5, you know, it should have been a 5v5 overall.
It should have been, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but now NRG more in the lead than they ever were before. Still putting pressure, all in the jungle, adapting, stealing the boards on the left-hand side. He's just been all over the map.
Yep. Really rough performance, though, this time around for Hungry for More. Variety's died 3 times. PrettyPriMe has died 3 times. Maybe that's energy just giving them payback for those Gold Furies last game.
Well, they got a Gold Fury of their own, which to add the cherry on the top. So NRG feeling very sweet and full after that meal. They're going to be able to keep on the pressure with this experienced lead now. They're still looking for these team fights. We saw their aggressive positioning around the right-hand side. They're not afraid to force things.
Not at all, but I think Hungry for More played, even though they are losing this slowly but surely, they are playing it relatively well overall in terms of how Variety's managed to hold out a lot of times in a 3v1 and still stay standing.
That's the one issue with Ymir. Because of how immobile he is, he can really get abused for that factor, and not having too much of an offensive or much of a defensive build right now for Variety. Breastplate of Valor has been finished, going for some magical defense and health. Probably going to be the Bulwark of Hope.
And emilitoo here, as he's tuning on the screen, has actually completed to go with the Ickfile and the boots as well. More than likely working towards that execution or the chins to add to it.
Dimi just trying to trade out some poke. Variety not on the mark with the Ice Carpet. Gold Fury has respawned, and this could be the opportunity that NRG could force another team fight.
I mean, this one's really important as well. This next Gold Fury is the be-all and end-all for Hungry for More, I want to say, this time around. They do need to find this one to try and keep themselves in this game. Otherwise, NRG's lead starts to climb to around 5,000 to 6,000
Absolutely.
gold.
If they don't find the stop of the Gold Fury, or at least find some kills in return, then NRG are really going to run away with this one. So we see iRaffer still spawning around the Gold Fury, as well as PANDALIKE, finding some nice wards.
Surprisingly enough, that Doom Mob is online for PrettyPriMe here, but already been dead 3 times, a little bit risky. A speed buff is being looked at by NRG here. Yammyn takes a little bit of poke on that side, as Ragnarok is going to force Purification out of Twig on the right.
CaptainTwig did manage to get his own speed buff, but look at this Variety. He doesn't have mobility, and right away gonna take all the damage from NRG.
And that wall actually zones his team from even getting involved. Raffer pops the ultimate as well to give his team a bit of mobility and just poke it out, being a bit of a nuisance on that left-hand side. Meanwhile, when I say left-hand side, emilitoo is actually split pushing left as the rest of his team look and take the right.
And Ataraxia has to defend because he cannot defend on the right-hand side, so at least trading 1-for-1 Hunter for Hunter on the left, forcing the different issue on the right.
Good job from Ataraxia, though, staying even in terms of experience there. Is into the jungle goes CaptainTwig, forced out by Yammyn's Thunder Crash onto him. But he's got to be careful of emilitoo, tracking him through the jungle here and trying to run down the monkey.
Gets spotted out by some of the wards, forcing the Gold Fury. The ultimate from Twig is down, so he's not going to find the nice little flank underneath. And because of how low he is, this makes it very tricky for him to find the steal.
Ataraxia will be the first one here, but Dimi's going to try and zone him from one angle. Twig is swinging back in, but Twig does not have ultimate available. Gold Fury goes to energy, and now Twig could be under pressure here, forced to somersault into the pit.
He does have Blink, though. He got Blink through the wall just barely, but now Dimi, he could have looked for the potential chase had he had the Tiger Stun. There was no purification available for Twig.
But it's a win for Hungry for More once more. I mean, they got a tier 1 on the right, go straight over to Gold Fury and get that as well for free.
Yeah, NRG is still coming out on top of that with the Gold Fury, with the tower. They're still going to be grouped up. They're going to wait for some of these buffs to respawn. Speed and red available. And now, with this lead, it's coming about to almost 7,000.
I was actually looking through all the players there and like, man, so many players of Hungry for More haven't been involved in kills. And then I just realized they've not actually had a kill just yet is one of the biggest issues, although a couple of members still not died. NRG will return to base once more, spend up some of that gold they've used, pick up their red buff, and continue taking their own jungle.
Still waiting for the grouping up out of NRG. This is getting to a point where it's getting a little out of hand for Hungry for More, and they need to find ways to exploit the positional rotations from NRG before they actually get grouped up. The one advantage they have is maybe exploiting emilitoo because he's never going to leave left lane.
That's true. He's been over there the whole time. But then, at the same time, does NRG really need to go to the right-hand side anymore? Totally, that tier 1's down. Ymir is been killed 4 times already. He's 1,500 gold plus down on his lane opposition. And then you look at the mid lane. I mean, he's 2,000 gold down on Yammyn now. You probably, if you're NRG, only going to sit in the left-hand side.
Right-hand side, a little ring around the rosy on variety, and still going to be able to be used as the big fat Ymir.
Very not happy about the situation, quite clearly. He's getting free poke, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. As they're looking towards a speed buff spawning again, NRG now, and 2 members pinned under the tower here. Daps might try and catch him on the rotation.
Gonna find the stun onto PrettyPriMe, forcing the purification out of both. What an effective Ragnarok.
And on top of that, he didn't even get hit by that Fatal Evil because Ragnarok was still in effect. PandaLike, though, in the mid lane. Gonna get poked by emilitoo a little bit. Didn't mean switching forms for a second as Yammyn got caught off by the wall, but Thunder Crash and Variety blinks in. Gets a freeze onto 2. Vulcan on top. Raff is in trouble, but he's still Raffer on the tanky target. Adapting. The first to fall, and Variety will get traded out by emilitoo. Over the wall goes Emil, looking towards PandaLike, who tried to get away from the fight. Meanwhile, on the backside, Dimi going in deep, combining with Yammyn to pick up one of the kills there. Now Ataraxia going to get a very good airstrike off, but can he get away? You can indeed.
The sustain from the obelisk, topping off Raffer and Yammyn. Dimi still looking for somebody around the corner. Ataraxia going back on the left-hand side. Now adapting. He sacrificed his own life, but NRG were able to find 3 in return. Jumping into the Ymir ult at this point, a little risky compared to the last time he did it.
Completely agree. The tier 2 tower is under threat. It's going to take a while with no minions there, but the pillar will slow down Hungry for more for now. However, NRG recognizing they don't want to bite off too much more than they can chew.
They're just going for the small wins with these objective steals. Preventing CaptainTwig from getting his speed buff is the most important thing now for NRG, taking the win, the small win.
Even though Hungry for more hanging on here, totally, NRG is still putting on a very good clinic. In terms of positioning, decision-making overall, yeah, we just saw that crazy little shenanigans in mid lane where the first death of the game happened for them. But they still put on an amazing show against probably the number 3 team in Europe right
Absolutely, now. Hungry for more. Nothing to really take for granted for. They managed to have 3 wins under their belt so far, only losing to Lobster and the boys previously. Now facing, you know, essentially the best team in Europe.
Yeah, and now they're left on hub. He's going to go the way of Hungry for more, but I think NRG know about this. emilitoo is going to be the first one round the corner and find Vulcan, but in the background is Dimi, and Prime did not know that was going on. Fatal Evil's a little bit too help, and now the drums of war are sounded, which supports his boys of NRG. Monolith is down as well, and the blessing is used by Terra, so that's just going to force the issue one more time as Hungry for more getting routed.
And PandaLike in the back, he tried to belly flop onto emilitoo, nowhere for him to go. Yammyn is trying to do some poke, but Variety is going to get bit yet again. No ultimate for him, trying to survive, nowhere for him to go.
And NRG just making Hungry for more look very, very average this game. Tier 2 tower's going to fall in the mid lane too. They can continue pushing on. They've got minions with them as well. NRG won a Phoenix before even taking a Fire Giant.
It's a very smart play right now. They have a 3-man advantage. They have the meditation. They have the sustain from that obelisk. Why not go for this Phoenix and then go for the Fire Giant?
We're seeing some great stuff out of Terra though. We're really starting to see how good Terra is in competitive play overall. Not just here this game, I mean, he's 0-0-8, and granted, he should be involved in all those kills if he uses his ultimate at the right time because it lasts 10 seconds. But I think Terra really impacts teams quite heavily.
We saw the early lane pressure that she brought. She was able to control PandaLike and Ataraxia under the tier 1 tower, and then only conceding the lane pressure for a moment and still looking for some more plays on the left-hand side.
Well,
we see the blink in.
And now he's forced to purify as well. Twig's still going to fall down. I love the idea from Twig there. Blinks away from all the danger, tries to get to the Fire Giant, but the Fire Giant wasn't even low. And in the end, emilitoo's quick 180 spin got him the impale.
He didn't have the vision on the Fire Giant, so taking a blind blink through the wall. In NRG, they still reset the Fire Giant. They're still going to go for their own buffs because the respawn timer's coming out of Hungry for more. They want to be able to also buy and get more of their 6th items online. Mantle of Discord now just finishing for adapting. Such a tanky build.
I mean, against a Vulcan and a Bacchus as well, you can't just try and raw do the Fire Giant and expect to get away with it every single time, especially when you lose gold Furies the game before. So
that's
playing
true.
with the mind of NRG here.
That's true. NRG have a different mindset this time around, just wanting to bait Hungry for more in a position where they're not going to be able to steal the objective, but they will overextend just enough to find the pick.
And if anything, Twig will be happy with that performance overall. He did cost him his blink in his life, but at the same time, he does defend the Fire Giant for now by his indiscretions.
Yeah, and Hungry for more, they shouldn't be too upset, even if they do lose this game and the last previous ones, because it is NRG, right? They still have to take something out of these games and think about, like, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? How do we improve this in the future if we meet NRG in the land?
So when you say say that? What's the biggest thing Hungry for More should be looking to take out of this one, Tolly? What was the biggest issues they had this game?
I would say this game specifically was not banning Terra against iRaffer, and then on top of that, Variety getting abused in the early laning phase. We saw how much Adapting really wanted to get that pick off. Ymir was last pick, but Fenrir was already picked into that.
And you think Ymir's a bit of a rough pick into that situation, yeah?
Yeah, it's too hard to really get an advantage, unless your strategy is to exploit the solo lane, right? If CaptainTwig was the one to make these early rotations, then maybe they were the ones to find some kills onto Dimi.
Well, Raph has popped the blessing and he's committing heavily, going to get a root off onto multiple targets here, forcing the boys of Hungry for More back again. Fenrir Weaver from Twig, though, and the Vulcan ultimate will hit Rafa, but it's not enough damage to bring down the Guardian, and it was not at the max range.
Not at all. Variety missing his freeze, completely botching the engage, and he's going to fall as Yammyn's ultimate from the side. Dimi diving into the backline after landing. Adapting, going to sustain a little bit more, but Yammyn and emilitoo are not done.
Now with a forming New Wave and a Meditate coming out as well, they can look for more here. Phoenix is under threat on the left-hand side. Pillar, for good measure, will bring down the second Phoenix for the boys of NRG, and they can retreat back into the jungle towards the right-hand Phoenix if they so choose.
Still so patient. They want to be able to weaken the Titan as much as possible, eliminating all the towers, all the Phoenixes, making sure they strip the protections and health away from this Titan.
More and more that I see these teams play, though, everybody seems to do this as standard now, you know? Not try and commit and end the game even though you've got a lead and a man down. You want to make sure everything is taken away. You don't want to make mistakes, because the amount of games we've seen of Smite these days, we've seen the throws happen. We've seen so many mistakes happen where you've lost games. Nobody wants to be that person again.
And that's how you improve game after game. You clean up those little mistakes, and if that's what it takes for you to become, you know, the next level to try to secure yourself a win, then why not go for it? Yeah, sure, they might have, even if they do end the game there, but they could have safely ended the game, you know, in the next 3 to 5 minutes either way.
Well, NRG looking to end the game through the next fire giant is their first call. Now, two Phoenixes still down. Middle one about to respawn, but you can just see that they really want kills, NRG, more than the fire giant overall here. They're trying to find a situation with Adapting flanking around the back here. He may be out to find himself some tasty treats.
Dimi and iRaffer are looking at them angrily. Adapting, diving in the back line. Gonna cash PrettyPriMe without a purification. Easy, clean pick, forcing out the sprint on top.
And that's NRG just knowing cooldowns, because you can see purification down for another 50 seconds on PrettyPriMe, and now with him being dead, they've got to defend a weakened Phoenix in mid and this right-hand one at the same time.
Still going for the mid Phoenix, though. We see Variety using his ultimate just to clear the mid wave. Nowhere for him to go. No CC immunity. 2 clean picks for NRG.
You will be missed, as will the middle Phoenix one more time, as NRG do take it down, immediately swing around to the right-hand side, and who will tank it up? It will be the minions that tank it up as well, but the blink from Twig is going to force purification immediately from Yammyn, and Yammyn is just going to force the monkey away, back to base, not to live again.
And this is going to be the end. This is going to be where NRG, they're not going to go for Fire Giant. They have a 5-on-2 power play. They have some minions flooding in. This Titan is at its very weakest core, and it's going to be Yammyn with the ultimate.
And the Yammyn ultimate will help to secure the Titan and bring it down. NRG 2-0, Hungry for More. Good performance from them, and allow NRG to climb up to, I believe, 11 points.
Yeah, they're going to find those 2 wins, going from 8 to 11 points now. It's going to be able to tie them, or I'm sorry, take the lead over Lobster and the boys.
You call them Lobster and the boys? I call them Artists, formerly known as Paradigm. We can go with either one of those. But yes.
It could be bipolar method too.
Oh, we'll find out. 11 points though for NRG here. Hungry for More still set at 11th. However, we got information through that supposedly their twit longer, they're now called bipolar method. No longer Artists, formerly known as Paradigm.
Claps.
Not anything else like Lobster and the boys. It's bipolar method for now.
You know, sometimes you just got to go back to your roots.
And just to remind you all at home as well, that information regarding the Paradigm situation there, we will have that game updated for you guys, and we'll give you an announcement of when that rescheduled game will be. However, back to our set here, we have the young emilitoo on the line to talk all about that energy set. Oh no, he's not on the line. Apologies, it's a replay. That's my bad. I thought I heard he was on the line. Let's have a look at emilitoo during that set then, and the performance he had on the Freya first of all, and secondly, he had the Anhur game as well.
He was able to just make so many power plays because of Adapting, finding the perfect Ragnarok target just for him to go off, doing a great job using his purification to prevent the knockup, and his ultimate almost able to find Ataraxia here.
In the end as well, it was a very interesting one between the two. The Banish actually saved his life from being hit by the next shot, but Under the tower is the interesting one here. He just realized he has to whack at Twig, otherwise he's dead.
Yeah, he had to try to use the Fatalis into his... And this is the steal from emilitoo with that one Desert Fury. He was still chasing down CaptainTwig the whole time. Well, he definitely bought enough time for the rest of his team to make the rotations.
Fantastic work from NRG and emilitoo that game as well. Don't forget, Worlds tickets are on sale right now, and that's where NRG and Hungry for More are trying to go. We're going to, are you? hi-rezexpo.com. You can head over there and get your tickets right now.
Definitely would not be surprised to see NRG qualify there. Hungry for More, though, they're still looking strong against other teams. They just need to figure out the right ways to shut down Lobster and the boys and Parrot or NRG.
That's true. That's true indeed. A very good performance from all the teams today in Europe. But that concludes our coverage for today. We still have 4 more sets to bring you tomorrow, however, over in Europe, and we'll find out if the standings do change overall there. Totally. Final thoughts for the day?
Just great performance by, I would say, NRG in this set, and the last couple of sets as well. We've seen some great plays, I would say, especially with Terra.
We'll see what the boys can do tomorrow over in Europe and see if anyone can climb from the depths like Sanguine or the Cringe crew or even Cyclone. But for everyone at hi-rez Studios, I hope you've all enjoyed today's broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more European action. For now, enjoy the rest of your night.
Taking aboard your rocket ship.